So welcome to another webinar today, and I believe the previous week has been a profitable trading week. So apologies for last week we couldn't do our session. We had some issues beyond reach, especially from my side. So apologies for that. So let's start, and we do this by first of all looking at the economic calendar. So look at for next week, that is from the 1st of June to the 7th, or the 5th of June per se. So, and our focus is on, high impact data that could cause some, interest rate repricing or change that could cause some flows in the market. And moving into the new week, I can see a lot of currency pairs giving me a very nice and sweet setup, especially the likes of Euro AUD and AUD USD, giving me a wonderful setup moving into the new week. And I'm also going to be sharing them, on this webinar. Okay. So moving into the new week, if you look at the economic calendar here, on Monday, we'll have PMI data from Japan and speeches from central bank governors and board members from ECB, and from the United States, we have the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is going to be speaking. We have retail sales data from Germany. We have retail sales data from Switzerland. And we also have GDP data from Switzerland as well, and PMI data from Switzerland. As well, these are important data. PMI from UK and also from EU, and also unemployment rates from the Euro area. So these are important data. For the Euro area, unemployment data is an important data. Majorly, that's not the major thing the ECB is more concerned. The ECB is concerned of for inflation, and but they also keep an eye on employment or unemployment data as well. But inflation is usually their major focus. So also keep an eye on unemployment rate as well. Okay. Because sometimes the balance of risk is not tilting towards that angle. When we say the balance of risk, we mean what the central bank is actually focusing on. Are they focusing on, growth, or are they focusing on inflation? So this is what I mean by the balance of risk. What do they want to achieve at that point in time? So, moving on, we have ISM data from the United States, an important leading economic data. So on the 2nd of June, we have, move on, we have inflation data, CPI data from ECB on Tuesday by 10 a.m. So an important one to keep an eye on, all right? We also have Governor Andrew Bailey from the Bank of England is also going to make a speech on Tuesday by 3 p.m. So it's an important one to keep an eye on. And we'll have the JOLTS job opening data from the United States, an important leading economic data. So when we say job opening, it gives you a clue. It's an important leading economic data for the labor markets for the United States. When we say job openings, it means vacancies. If there are vacancies and the companies and businesses are saying, we have space, we want to accommodate more workers, we want to employ more workers, that gives you a clue that, okay, since the economy is good, since businesses are doing fine, they want to expand, which is going to expand the economy. Meaning when they employ more people earn more money, and people tend to spend more money. Okay, so the job openings is also an indication that the labor market is becoming healthy, and that simply means an expansion for the economy. Okay. So moving on to Wednesday, we have PMI data from Australia, and we have GDP data from Australia as well, and also PMI data from especially the services, that's the non-manufacturing, for JPY. So if you are looking at US PMIs, you will see it written as non-manufacturing. So when you say non-manufacturing, when somebody is not manufacturing but is into business, so it simply means they are offering services. Okay, think of it like the banks. They offer services, they don't sell products. You look at the hospitals, they offer services, they don't sell products. You look at the hotels, hospitality, they offer services, they don't sell what? Products. You look at things like the discos we have in Nigeria, the energy distribution companies. What they offer is services. They don't sell what? Products. Okay? They don't manufacture, they offer what? Services. So when you have services PMI, these are the sectors we are what referring to. Okay. So moving on, we have PMI data from China as well, an important one, Caixin Services and Caixin Composites. So moving on, we have S&P Global Services PMI from the Euro area and also from the UK, and we have PPI data that same Tuesday by from the Euro area as well. Producer Price Index, a leading economic indicator for inflation. So moving on, we have the S&P PMI data, but I focus more on, don't look at S&P PMI data much for the United States. I love to focus on the ISM because that is what investors who are looking at the US market are majorly focusing on, to understand the next move in the United States dollar, a leading move, okay? So that's what I usually focus on. The ISM, which you can see here, non-manufacturing. So that simply means the services PMI you see written for other economies on the economic calendar. So when you see services PMI, you may not see that on the ISM, unless maybe you are trying to gauge with the S&P services PMI for the United States. But when you talk of ISM, this non-manufacturing PMI simply means services PMI, like I just explained. So not just looking at the non-manufacturing PMI, it's also good to gauge employment as well, to look at non-manufacturing employment. You are also trying to track the level of employment in the non-manufacturing or the services sector. So you have a look at all of them to understand the health of the United States economy, a leading data. So on Thursday, 4th June, we have, commodity price index, a very important data for the New Zealand. We have inflation data from Switzerland and also unemployment rate from Switzerland. A very, important data to tell us that the next move in terms of rate expectation for Switzerland. This is going to confirm, major trend in Swiss franc to tell us, okay, we're focusing on Swiss franc. Currently, I'm bullish on Swiss franc, and we are going to see some of those opportunities moving on into the next week, and also give you a clue of what happened last week, when we move on to the charts. And so it's going to be a follow-up moving to the next week, okay? So ECB President Lagarde is also going to be speaking, and by 10 a.m. we're going to be having retail sales from the Euro area as well. And by 4:30 p.m. Nigerian time, Governor Andrew Bailey is also going to be making a speech. Also a very important one for you to keep an eye on. If you are a GBP trader, if you love trading the pound pairs, it's always good to listen to Andrew Bailey and board members from the Bank of England. Very, very important and crucial. Moving on 5th June Friday, we have industrial product. Okay. For those who trade the Norwegian krone, the manufacturing production and industrial production is as a coincident data. You can keep an eye on that. But majorly, I like to focus on the 8 major currencies for this webinar because that is what most traders are focusing on. So no need maybe if you are not advanced much, looking at all those currencies. But if you also want to keep an eye on them, it's also crucial, for you to expand your portfolio. It's also good. Those instruments are also found on, we also have those instruments in our platform. Go to capital market. You can also trade those currencies, the South African rand, Norwegian krone, Swedish krona, and all of them. So we have labor market data from the United States and also from Canada. This is the last one I'm going to the last major data for the week. That is first Friday of the month, NFP. Okay, so an important one. And we'll have Governor Bailey also speaking by 7 p.m. Nigerian time. So, and also some board members are also going to be speaking. All right, like Ingra is also going to be speaking. So it's also good to keep an eye on that. So that is for the economic calendar. So it's always good for you to understand which economic data is coming. So, you understand what is happening and what is about to happen. So you don't get caught off guard. Okay. So that if you are in a position, you know if you are going to be doing break even, maybe moving out of that position or trailing stops or anything. So it's always good that, you keep an eye on the economic calendar. Very, very important. So moving on to what we have, I want you to focus on this data right here. Okay, this is where we are going to be getting uh the currencies we are focusing on moving on to the new week. So for my bullish currencies, I'm going to be focusing on Swiss, Euro, dollar, and bearish currencies, I'm going to be focusing on CAD, Yen, and Oz. Okay, so moving on, let's look at Aussie Swiss. So for Aussie Swiss, since Swiss is strong and Aussie is weak, I'm going to be looking at Aussie Swiss to the downside. So, and you know how I do this. I don't just based on the macro analysis I've done. I also try to look at, what institutions are doing moving into the new week. Are they bullish or bearish for that currency? What am I anticipating? And then when I have that bias and framework, I now go into the chart and look at, okay, wait for when that technical setup is going to align for me to take advantage of that. So moving into the new week, you could see, we are from last 2 weeks, we are moving from 30, positive 30 to negative 7, and now negative 35. We are gradually pushing negative, for Aussie Swiss. So if I go to the chart of Aussie Swiss, so this is what I'm anticipating. So let me explain the structure here clearly. So what I'm anticipating here, this for me, seems to be an impulse to the downside from here to here. Seems to be a three-wave structure to the downside. So here we have gotten an up move down, correction, any down move, and then after this up move, probably around this zone and this level, let me just call it a zone. Around this level, any selling opportunity, I'm going to be taking advantage of it to the downside. This is what I'm looking at for on Aussie Swiss to grab this lows. A lot of liquidity is under this low, okay? To grab this low. This is what I'm looking at for an Aussie Swiss. I'm not interested in any other thing, only sell setups for Aussie Swiss for this pair. You can also take advantage of the buying opportunity if you know how to. It's not just going to be a scalping move. Price first of all is going to push up for this up. So if you know how to take advantage of that, it's also an avenue to make some money out of the market. You can also take advantage of that. But the major move for the new week, what I am anticipating, not a financial advice. This is just my own view, of the market. Okay, is a push to the downside. Okay. So moving on, the next one on my watch list is Swiss yen to the upside. So when we look at the commitment of traders, Swiss yen, we can see, from negative 16 now, positive 14 now to positive 20. We are pushing to the upside, and this is one of the pairs I've been taking advantage of since the last week. You could see this major move here was a very big one. Okay, so we've been heading to the upside since after the BOJ bank intervention. So what am I anticipating next is any corrective structure. Small one could be an opportunity to push back to the upside, taking away this high and also this high. Okay, so price could go even above 204.500 levels. So before you enter, you probably need to wait for a corrective structure before you continue with the momentum to the upside. So next on my watch list, I have CAD Swiss. So for CAD Swiss, what do we have? We can see CAD Swiss is negative. Okay, CAD is weak, Swiss is strong. So you can see from negative, from positive 26 to negative 23 and now to negative 64. So we are heavily bearish for CAD Swiss. So let's go to the charts, and I think CAD Swiss was last 2 weeks I took advantage of it or something like I don't really remember. Yeah, so you can see it's been heading to the downside. It's been bearish, so it's good for you to take advantage of it if you know know how to read your structures properly. So for CAD Swiss, price could maybe decide to extend this bearish move first. You know, it may not give you the opportunity to scale it immediately. So I may not be looking at cash switch this week unless maybe the structure, aligns properly during the week. So if price pushes to the downside, I'll wait for a corrective structure before I will join the sales again. Probably maybe something similar to this nature. Okay, or maybe we could get a corrective structure similar to this after this down move. It could extend to be a bigger one, either something of this nature or something of this nature. I know how to read the corrective structures to understand when it's about to end for me to enter. So I'm going to wait for that corrective structure, either for this move or for similar move. But the higher probability chance is for price to give us something of this nature. Then after this move, something of this nature, depending on how this move happens, if it's very huge and big and momentum is pushing to the downside, we'll get this, something similar to this. But if that is not the case, and momentum is dying off, the correct structure is most likely going to be similar to what we have seen here before any push to the downside. That is for CAD Swiss. So now the next one is Euro, and we have Euro AUD. So Euro AUD to the upside. Now, in terms of what big banks and institutions are doing, what can we see? So for Euro AUD, you could see from -4 now we are at +20. And this is one of the best currency pairs, in terms of setup. I'm looking at moving into the new week. I can't ask for more from Euro AUD. So, and let me share that with you. So for Euro AUD, on the bigger degree, what I'm anticipating here is Euro AUD is trying to give me a big corrective structure. Those who understand wave analysis will understand what I mean. Price has given me a push to the upside here, sharp down. Here is a correction. So price is expected to give me either something similar to this, or maybe it wants to extend a corrective structure if it's going to go down, maybe upside again. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But for now, what Euro AUD is setting up is for an opportunity to the upside. Just price is going to push down a little bit more around this level. It's almost ready. I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to the upside. If I go into the internal structures of this now, so here is what I can see in terms of the structure. Impulse, correction, impulse, the correction is done here. For this down move, we are getting this down. And after that, that is what I'm looking for, buy setups to the upside. That is for Euro Oils. So moving on to the next one, Euro JPY. So I'm not paying much attention to Euro JPY because of its structure. So for Euro JPY, you can see we are also pushing to the positive territory, but I'm not paying attention to Euro JPY simply because of its structure. So I have many pairs to keep an eye on. Let me go to Euro JPY. Euro JPY. So Euro JPY. So the opportunity is still to the upside, but you're going to wait for a clear corrective structure here. I think the corrective structure is still in the making. If this is a down move up, so maybe any correction, maybe something of this nature, will be heading back to the upside. So until then, here could be a correction. So you can see anything similar, that could be an opportunity to the upside. Okay. So that is it for Euro Yen. So, but we are looking for any opportunity for Euro Yen. I think the best bias is to the upside. So the next one on our watch list is Euro CAD. So if we look at Euro CAD, so Euro CAD, we can see from +12, we are moving to +49. So heavily bearish. So you can see the institutions are in line with what we have on our Excel sheet. So what am I looking at for Euro CAD? So for Euro CAD, this most likely is going to be a complex structure. Any corrective structure here, maybe if we go down to 1 hour, it's going to be an opportunity to look for short-term buys. Okay, I think structure here is still in the making. So let's see what happens. Either we are going to have, a complex structure, or this is just going to be a corrective structure here, and then we'll keep on pushing to the upside, taking away these highs and even these highs. Let's see how that happens if this just wants to be a corrective structure. In all, what I'm going to be looking at for is a buy setup to the upside after any corrective structures. If we go down to the 1 hour, so let me explain better what I mean. So from the 1 hour, this is what I mean. Any corrective structure to the downside, and I go down to maybe more lower time frame, like 15 minutes. If I see any buying opportunity, it's going to be an opportunity for me to look for buys. And if price start moving into my direction, I begin to break even in case of structure size to change. Okay. So the next one we have here is USD, AUD USD. So AUD USD is one of the best pairs. Between this moving into the new week, my best currency pairs I'm looking at is AUD Swiss and AUD USD. So what can we see in terms of what institutions are doing? From positive 16 now we are negative 27. So Aussie dollar, this is it. So for Aussie dollar, I'm looking for a sell setup. Here we have gotten a push to the downside. Price is giving us a corrective structure here. So maybe slight correction up around this level. I'm going to be looking for a sell setup, at least to take away this level. Okay. And for this Aussie dollar, it's not just about macros as well. Also keeping an eye on geopolitics. Okay, because with what we are having between US and Iran, little exchange of fires around the Strait of Hormuz, which the ceasefire is very fragile at this point. We're on the edge going back to a war in the Middle East again, resumption of the war. So let's see what happens. Geopolitical play could have impact on this. This is what I and my fellow traders always look at the floor, trading floor, to say, okay, if this happens, what are we expecting? So it's all about context. How USD and AUD are affected, either positively or negatively, to see them. Like when during the last time, before the ceasefire, AUD and USD we are benefiting because USD is a major oil producer. Crude oil customers we are moving to the United States, and that is more money for the United States and also for AUD because Australia is the large exporter of LNG, liquefied natural gas. So that was a very crucial one for Australia at that point in time. So Australian oil marketers were making money, and that simply means government could be charging more tax, on this company and also making money as well. So that means there was huge demand for Australian dollar, and that was impacting the Australian dollar then positively. So if that happens, context matters. That's why you read a lot of news, watch financial channels like Bloomberg. Bloomberg has a 247 live feed, CNBC, try and follow them, okay? To hear the sentiments of investors and traders, analysts who are coming there, and they are also their staffs to understand what is happening. So I've told you, you can see my arrow. No, it's not a financial advice, it's just my own point of view. So let's see. If you have been following my webinar, you see the level of accuracy just to help you be on the right side of the market. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at for on AUD USD. So moving on, the next one I have on my watch list is USD JPY. An important one, but also being very careful because of Bank of Japan intervention. That could happen anytime soon again. But I think for now there is a pause, okay? Because a lot of traders are taking profit from the last one. So for USD JPY, we can see from -9 now we are at positive territory. Regardless, it's been pushing to the upside. Even since last week it was a negative. I still expect such move to continue. The way the USD JPY is moving, I don't like the way the candles are forming and the entire structure. So I think I'm going to be off from it for now. And also with the possible, BOJ intervention, I don't like this the way it's moving. There is no significant momentum. So I'm going to just keep off from USD JPY. and focus on the rest that are giving me better structure. And so the last one we have is USD CAD. Okay, so let's look at what institutions and banks are doing for USD CAD. So for USD CAD, we are bullish, and what are they doing? From -0 now to positive 56, they are also bullish on their book. Okay, and they have also been bullish, for some time now. So let's move into the chart and see what is playing out for USD CAD. So we can see that. So we are gradually heading to the upside. For the past, since the beginning of the month, we have been heading to the upside. So what am I looking at? So uh, here we may not be getting that opportunity immediately because price seems to be giving a corrective structure. So if this move push the downside is done, I'm going to be waiting for price to give me an opportunity to buy either for an impulse or for a corrective structure. So once this is done, I'm going to be looking for buying opportunities again for USD CAD. So that is all I have for you guys in terms of the analysis and the outlook. I believe this is very helpful, and you know how we do it. I'm going to be entertaining questions. Let's see if you have any questions, technical fundamentals, geopolitics. Please, you can ask your questions now. Okay.